You could do all the self-improvement you want. You could achieve the perfect chiseled jawline, achieve the body of a Grecian god. But if you have the voice of a weak child, you run the risk of this happening.
Hey, what's up, ladies?
But don't worry, because if this is you, you're in luck. There's certain things you could do to help achieve a more deep masculine voice, and that's what I'm for here. Come on in, come relax into my warm embrace. I got you. I'm gonna share with you 3 speaking skills that are vastly gonna improve the way that you sound to people, and then I'm gonna share 3 actual exercises that will help you achieve a more deeper, stronger voice. So make sure you watch the video all the way through to the end. You're not gonna wanna miss any of it. So let's get right into it. The first thing that you absolutely want to try to practice, if you're one of these people with a tight, high-strung voice, relax and slow down. This is something that happens to me too sometimes. Sometimes I get so excited, I'm talking so fast that the voice starts coming out of, my throat and my neck instead of my chest. And the slower and the more relaxed you are when you talk, the easier it is to regulate the deepness and the inflection and the potence of your voice. So just relax, drop those shoulders, speak slow and controlled. And the slower you go, the more vibration you can achieve. You can't achieve much vibration where you're speaking so fast, you're getting all tight and it just sounds squealy and effeminate. So slow down. Next is to enunciate. Announcing is actually saying words the way that they're meant to be said. And this is something that I ignored for a long time, just because maybe when you're growing up around other kids who don't take speaking seriously, their words kind of just melt and blend together, because the way that they say things isn't as important to them as like expressing what's going on here, right? But when you make a conscious effort to actually announce and sound out the parts of every word that are meant to be sounded out, you just sound simply more intelligent, more masculine, and more professional. For example, recently I noticed that my friends, they say wheel like wool. And then we'll go get some pizza or something. Like how immature and how childish could you be when speaking? You can't even take the time to say, and then we'll go to get some pizza, right? So slow down and say words exactly how they're meant to be spoken. And the best orators are people that do this. You can think Andrew Tate, love him or hate him. Jordan Peterson, who does in fact have a high-pitched, more effeminate voice, but he's so good at speaking it actually kind of masks his inadequacies as far as the pitch of his voice. So make sure to practice enunciating each and every word. If you look back at my videos, you notice I do this a lot more in the past year or so than I have in years past, and it's actually made a huge increase in the growth of my channel. The last speaking skill I'm begging you to practice. Many of you who have been watching my channel for years have heard me say this before, but it's to practice rapport breaking tonality. Rapport breaking tonality. Let me explain. So there's generally 3 types of tonality, and tonality is the inflection of your voice. So let's start with the most common. The most common is rapport neutral. This is where what you're saying sounds pretty much the same all the way through. So the other day I went to the park, kind of all the way through. Then there's rapport seeking. This is where you have a little bit upward inflection at the end of what you're saying. This is not good. This makes you sound like what you're saying is a question, like you're not sure of what you're saying. So the other day I went to the park, right? It's very Valley Girl talk. You think of the bimbos in LA might talk like this. So I went to the park and then I went to the mall, and you'll notice a lot of people talk like this. And then the last one is rapport breaking tonality. This is the opposite of that. It actually curves downwards a little bit at the end of what you're saying. And this is used by people in positions of authority. So police officers, CEOs, principals, teachers sometimes as well. So the other day I went to the park, right? Drops off a little bit. It's masculine. It puts you in your place. Or you can imagine license and registration, right? License and registration goes up and then drops down. Kind of, this guy has higher status than me. He is authoritative. I must do as he says, right? So I don't want you to start talking like that with every single sentence you say, but find a little bit of that medium ground between rapport neutral and rapport breaking. But at the very least, avoid rapport seeking like it's the plague, right? So those are the skills. These are going to help vastly to improve the way that you sound to other people. Now I'm going to share with you 3 exercises that will actually help you achieve a stronger, more masculine voice. So I got these, I didn't just make these up. I got these straight from the speech pathologist, Dr. Robert Bastian of the Bastian Institute of Speech. And he recommends doing each of these exercises for about 20 seconds. So for a total of 1 minute. It doesn't take much. You should see benefits after about 2 weeks, and you'll see max benefits at about 1 month. So this isn't the type of thing where you're going to see gains over the years like bodybuilding. It's, your vocal cords are very small muscles, so the growth potential is not very high. The first exercise he just calls voice of authority. So this is just saying a phrase or a string of phrases with a loud, emphatic voice. And the example he gave goes like this. Long ago, people found it was easier to travel by water than by land. Right. Sounds kind of funny. I could have even gone a lot harder, but I'm in an apartment complex. But I could have definitely gone a couple decibels even higher. So you say this fully through with a loud, commanding voice. You're not yelling, but you're just saying it with a strong voice, right? Now me, when I'm doing this practice, I'm usually in my car. That way I know nobody's gonna hear me and be like, what's going on in that room? And I usually just listen to whatever song is on the radio, and I'll try to say those lyrics in this deep, emphatic voice like he recommends. And that's how I do it. You can choose whatever phrase or lyrics you want to use. Now, the second exercise he calls ship ahoy. And this is actually a loud yell, right? As if you're warning somebody across the street. You say, ship ahoy! Neighbor, look out! Right? And that was louder than I intended, but I could have gone far louder. Now pretend you're in your car. You can go as loud as you want. This is training and strengthening that vocal cords, because a lot of people live introverted lives where they don't have the opportunity to use their voice to its max potential, so it atrophies and it weakens, and if you don't use it, you lose it to some extent. So this is what that's practicing. And then the last one he calls the siren exercise, and this is simply making a siren noise starting with the lowest tone that you can and then going up to the highest, back down to the lowest, and so on and so forth. So I usually go with the sound ooh, you go ah if you prefer, whatever, but it looks a little something like this. Right? And come back down, so on and so forth. 20 seconds. It's funny doing this here in my quaint little apartment. My neighbors are probably like, what's going on up there? But that's it. 20 seconds at a time, 3 exercises. You can do it as much as 2 days. You can do it as much as twice a day. You want to be careful. You don't want to give yourself laryngitis, aka losing your voice, because then you can't do these practices really at all. So try these out, but I think even more importantly, do the speaking skills. Slow and relaxed, which I noticed I haven't been practicing much in this video, but that's okay. Enunciate your words perfectly. And last but not least, acquire rapport breaking tonality, and you'll see vast, improvements in the way that you communicate. So hope you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you love your parents. Peace.